Hi guys, welcome back to Otter's RC Garage. Today we're back in the garage finally, and we're going to be working on our Axial SCX10. It has been snowing outside. It is now January, past Christmas and all that time, so we do expect to see some snow around here. So worst part about all winter is plowing your driveway or plowing your sidewalk off. And for me, the only thing I really got to do is my sidewalk mainly. My driveway isn't a big deal. It's not that big and we can get right out. So, doing the sidewalk, I have come up with a solution so I can stay inside. Today, we're going to be installing this snowplow onto our Jeep. It's a first gen SCX10. Has the first gen axles with the servo mounted on the axle. So it should have enough weight down low. Did plenty good towing a heavy Bronco, which weighs more than it, so I think it's going to be plenty good for the snow. One of the things I noticed, which you guys see back here in the back, I noticed the other day when I was digging in on hers, it doesn't even have a crawler ESC on it. It's just some brushed ESC the guy had laying around. So ordered her the Hobbywing 1080 Quickrun, and we're gonna put that in and see how it does. I'm going to show you guys also, it comes with a programming card, so I'm going to show you guys how to work through the programming card and set up the different settings and whatnot. Also, with the snowplow, there's a few guys that have showed me what I already was thinking. As you can see, this snowplow is mounted by just those two pegs, and that's also where the bumper mounts onto the Jeep. You're basically just removing the bumper and putting the plow on. What I see as a problem is all of your force is down here pushing this way, and these pegs are just going to want to fold. So I've come up with a solution for that. We're going to go off of this screw hole here, which already is braced with a crossbar. So we're going to go off of that screw hole there, and we're going to take a link and go right up to the frame. There's a couple holes there that I can mount into, and I got a couple different lengths, and I got a couple links that I can set to custom links that actually came off this originally. So we're going to mess around with that. We're going to get that installed. We're going to get the new ESC hooked up, and then I'll show you guys how to hook everything up and make it all work. So first things first, we're going to get that beautiful bumper taken off. We're going to get the snowplow put on. So now that the plow is mounted with the easy screws, 2 screws set up, we just got to run our ESC wire all the way over and plug it into our receiver box. And while we have the receiver box open, we're going to disconnect our motor controller or ESC, at which point then we'll pop this up. It's just held on by double-sided tape, so pretty easy. Just stick something under there and pop it up. Disconnect the motor wires, and we'll put the new one on. So guys, I thought I was going to get lucky there for a moment because I seen it had the same connector that we've been using for this vehicle. So I didn't think I was going to have to do any soldering, but once I pulled it out, I see that there's no motor leads soldered on. They do give you nice long leads. I am probably going to cut those down because it only has to go to right there, right next to it. So I'll end up probably cutting those down. I'm going to get those soldered on. I also am going to gonna need to somehow lengthen this a little bit. I do have an extension on the way because I was afraid that I was gonna need that, but I think for now I might be able to find a way to run it and make it work. So I definitely want to get that on video, at least a testing for you guys with the plow going up and down. Also, like I said, I want to show you guys how to program this and get the most out of that. So after I get done soldering, I'll be right back. And we have the Hobbywing installed. I ended up direct wiring straight to the motor and wiring the leads right on the motor, so there's no connection. I also went ahead and, as you guys can see, I ran this conduit so it sort of hides all the wires. The only wires that you can see is the connector for the battery and a little bit down here going to the motor. Other than that, it's just these bits here, but nice and hidden. I did that going all the way down to the servo on the snowplow. I figured this sheathing, this automotive sheathing, taped and everything up and whatnot, it should give a little bit of weather resistance, especially since we're going to be out there and plowing and in the snow and, you know, just in the middle of it all. So without further ado, we're going to hook up the battery and I'm going to show you how to program this Hobbywing 1080 with the Hobbywing card. So I'm not going to go too far in depth on how to do this because there is quite a few videos out there. RC Review does a very good in-depth video. I recommend going and watching his. But the gist of how to work this and how to program your Quickrun. Obviously, make sure your battery's plugged in. So we got our battery plugged in, controller on, very important. We are then, before we turn it on, we're going to hook up our wires. So the one important thing, you'll see little minus, plus, and then a signal. You want to make sure that lines up with the same that's on top of this program card. On normal servos, black obviously is your ground, red's your power, and white is your signal wire. So usually I just leave it hooked up like that so there's no confusion. Once it's plugged in, you can then power it on. You know it's on when you get your numbers, and you got 15 different values. So item is your different number, and you got a list going down there on the front, you got a list going all the way down on the back. So then you can just select through each one, hit OK. If you want to change your item, you hit item, you can change that, like we're on LiPo. Voltage cutoff, we're going to leave on medium. Your initial start force, like if you want to change that, you just hit your value button. We're going to change that down to 1 because that gives you a 0. 0 initial start force, it gives you a real nice good crawl. But either way, once you get your settings, you press OK, and once it comes back up with your numbers, turn it off, unplug it, and your ESC is programmed and ready to go. So I got the Hobbywing programmed up all the way up that I think I'm going to want it. And the one big thing that I made a difference is you can change your voltage for your Beck, which is basically your voltage going to your servos. Most all ESCs put out about 6 volts. This one you can up to 7.4. Now there is a new 1080E, I think is what they call it, coming out, or that did come out, and you can actually up that even more to I think 8 volts. So that little bit extra voltage, it doesn't sound like a lot, but it's almost a 15-20% increase in voltage over that 6 point whatever. So that should make a huge difference. I got a 40 kilogram servo to run this plow just to make sure it's got plenty of power to move it up and down. These are some pretty heavy springs, but I wanted to leave the springs on. A lot of guys I see take them off. I didn't want to take them off. I want to make sure to leave them on, make sure I got plenty of force, you know, pushing down. So guys, I want to point something out here. This GX 40 kilogram servo says it's waterproof and everything. This thing about ruined my day. I put that on the plow and it failed before we even got out and started plowing. So I ended up stealing one of these 20 kilogram, no name, they just say DS servo, digital servo, and it's rated for 20 kilograms. And I tell you what, that thing lifted this plow easier, better, faster than this GX servo ever did, even brand new. So JX servos, I've heard good things. These GX servos, I guess stay away from. That's my personal opinion. Like I said, about ruined my day. So we have that hooked up to channel 4 actually on our receiver. And I did channel 4 because it's a 3-position spot. So I can go to the middle spot and then I can go all the way up. So I figured what that would allow me to do is I could go to the middle spot and maybe knock off a tall drift and then come back through and drop it all the way down and actually finish it off. So pretty cool. I'm really anxious now to get some snow, but next step we're gonna have to do is do some bracing here. So we'll get going on that. Got the links installed. Sort of hard to see up inside there, but we got them mounted to the far back bumper mount bolt, and then going down to that spot I told you guys about. So that has helped out significantly, and this thing is solid as can be now. Like, you can, no flex, just straight solid. Now this does have the metal bumper mount, so that's sort of helping things as well, having this metal bumper mount and having it all the way in the metal pegs with the metal links. So we are ready to plow some snow. Alright guys, this worked out a lot better than I was expecting. This thing did great. It had absolutely no problems pushing this snow around. I did have the plow set a little bit too low, but honestly I think that's because this is a gravel lot and it's not really the plow's fault. But I had it set to that middle setting on the controller, and I could still sort of scrape just over the rocks, and it worked out perfect. This lot here is a friend of ours, and he doesn't care if we use it, so I decided clear it out for him so he doesn't have to come over here and shovel it, which I don't think he shovels it anyways. Hope you guys like this video. Make sure you guys like, subscribe. Hopefully we get some more snow and I can use this some more. All the snow on my sidewalk melted off. But like I said, make sure you guys like, make sure you guys subscribe. We'll see you guys next week.